Hey folks, this is Ben Gessel. How's it going? This is part two of basically I named it what grinds my gears. I know it's Family Guy stuff. But yeah, things are just kind of bothering me. So this is just one of these things. I have had quite a bit of stress last little while regarding anything having to do with anything government related, like anything. And I do mean stress. So taxes somewhat, but they're all done. They're done. They're done. Still, some part of me still wondering if my dad was helping me with my taxes and if we made mistakes. So of course, I'm still wondering about that stuff. And then then of course, health insurance stuff, and yeah. Uh, and also I mentioned this another video, all that weirdness with the construction crew. That was kind of a little different, but basically, yeah, government. Here's my thing with government. With any company, I mean any company, any private company. Well, at a certain point, you start getting into really really big companies that start taking on qualities of governments themselves. So I think I'm referring to smaller companies here. With smaller companies to even medium sized companies, you're probably going to be. There's a good chance they'll be treated better. There's a good chance that the. Not always, but, I mean, depends on the nature of the company, I suppose, but it always depends on who runs it, how they run things, and the nature of the business as well. But it's kind of. Um, you're going to get what you want quicker with certain kinds of companies. And everyone's going to have glowing ratings of them on Yelp or whatever else. And, you know, it's weird with regard to different kinds of businesses too. And by the way, regarding Yelp reviews, I really, I'm sure I haven't mentioned this before this way. Um, with that 1 to 5 star rating for things, you really should have. Um, we're all aware of the fact that, like, companies like Frontier and Comcast or anybody who provides internet and cable and stuff, the reviews are going to be really stinking negative. Really, really negative compared to, like, I don't know, a Rip Your store. Or like some sweet shop. You go to a sweet shop, a candy shop, a soda shop, because you want to peg out on candy. So how could you not be happy with them? You have to have a, really abysmal experience at some place to give them less than 3 stars. Anyway, I don't know. You get the idea there. Yeah. So, but yeah, private sector is just a lot more efficient than government. Anything the government does. So I'm talking about education, public education, public, mind you, public education, state-owned universities. Talking about anything government related regarding healthcare. Talking about taxes. I'm talking about the IRS and how ancient they are. Their computer system is just being completely way, 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 way too, outdated equipment. Outdated, you know, you don't hear back from them for months and months and months and months, and this crap, But anyway, and then um, the government waste alone, and all the rumors, the conspiracy theories about Illuminati and Federal Reserve and the deficit and the military, man. The military. It's not the people, obviously, that are serving in the military. It's, well, actually, the military is interesting. The military is very good at what they do. What the problem is well, it's basically the deficit. It's just it's like, so why are we doing this again? And you know how much of a say did I actually have in this and going to war with this country? I never do, by the way. In case anybody's wondering, I had no choice in the matter regarding whether or not we went to war with Iraq. Can you say that humorously? Because of course you didn't either. None of us did. Which one of us did? Who made the call? Some of us probably didn't even know Iraq existed. If you're young enough, I don't know. Of course, I know. I'm a social studies buff. I know about all. I know every single country in the world. Capitals. It's no big deal. I'm just saying that some people that are adults, grown adults that have very little knowledge of the world, and that's understandable. It's okay. It's just probably a good idea to learn some of that stuff. So you know, it's the people who are running the show. The people actually fighting the wars are fine. The people, the officers are fine even, as far as I know. It's like who they're taking orders from and why. So, and then we have, director of health and human services. That's the hospitals, but it's also there's the welfare-ish arena, and yeah, welfare, government welfare, and we know how efficient that is and how effective they are. And then I don't know, transportation, urban development, or housing. That's welfare related, I suppose. Energy, and I think all these different departments, Department of State, and Homeland Security, and director of the CIA, and there's um, the Postal Service. Oh, yay, the Postal Service. And then I don't know, Attorney General. That's the state thing. Sorry, but there's the guys that print the money. Everything, government waste is endless. It's there's no end to it. And there's no end to the amount of, you know, just waste, time waste, um, being on the phone for hours and hours, all this red tape. This is one of the things that grinds my gears. I'm a believer in the private sector. This is one of the reasons I'm a conservative. I believe in the strength of the private sector. I believe in small businesses. The more of them we have, the better off we will be. And when you get to the point where you have these big, gigantic corporations that are like Google and Amazon, no, break them up. They're monopolies. I read this article I was reading today. Yes, it will make the economy stronger by having several companies that were originally Google or Amazon or even Facebook. Although Facebook, I think, is I won't get into that. But no, break them up. They are monopolies. At least Amazon is. I don't know. So, what else is kind of bothering me right now? Well, I suppose, I just have less tolerance for certain attitudes from people. Um, because of maybe largely being away from certain kinds of people for quite a while. If I interacted with certain kinds of people again, I would know what to say. I would know what to say to them. I would definitely know what to say to them. And I can't always, hey, man, call people on their crap, man. I'm talking about social stuff here a little bit, but it's just, this is why people go out in the forest and become hermits and mountain men. They've had enough. had enough of that crap. They go out and they do their own thing. The hell with everybody else. I definitely have that side to me. It's anybody's guess, or we wonder why I haven't done that yet. Some part of me wants to not be a Riddick, so to speak, right? Some part of me does want to connect with the rest of the human world. Even though I guess I can't do that very much right now. I completely understand, people that are so furious about all this stuff that's been going on, about wearing masks everywhere, and maintaining social distancing. Let me tell you what would happen if somebody actually said, "Stay back from me," and well, it depends on the person, I suppose, and what's going on there. Do you know what I would do? Seriously? Especially if I had a mask on. Well, of course, if you don't know the person, it's no big deal. Oh, I'm sorry, go away. But if it's someone you know, and they're just being a butthead, oh man, and you just, I, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it depends on the person. I mean, some people you wouldn't really want to, you know, they'd probably be kidding at some level. I mean, I want to hear about if one of you guys gets COVID-19 from a friend or something. Like, really, really? Oh no, we don't know if we have it. You know, I think we know in general how much we've likely have been exposed to it, and I think based on that, it's likely that we'll know if we have our masks off, who we're likely to expose. How likely someone else is to be exposed to it. You know, us if we have it. We just don't know it. Look, I mean, I teach piano lessons, man. I can't afford to get this virus. And it would just, oh, man. I won't get it, though. There's no way I can get it. The reason why I'm very confident I won't get it is because I wear a mask whenever I'm around people. Unless it's my landlord. But other than my landlord, I have a mask on. Like, all the time. Around other people. And I wash my hands a lot. How many of us, by the way, are washing our hands as much as we were washing them in April? Or even May? Probably not. Probably just April. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm talking about this excessive hand washing, right? That's borders on obsessive compulsive stuff. We're not doing that anymore. We're not washing our hands every hour. Scalding hot water, we're not doing that because why? Because that's just not something that we're not really. We're never really in the habit of doing that. So this is part of the issue. What grinds my gears. But I want to move on to some other stuff here in a bit. Maybe I'll just sum it up by saying I don't think any of us wants to be always 6 feet apart from other people for the most part. And I don't think any of us wants to wear masks everywhere. So the fact that we are doing this on some level is the longer this happens, the more I think it will grind our gears because these are not habits that we want to continue indefinitely. It has to stop sometime. Okay, so there's something else that's grinding my gears, and it has to do with adults being unresponsive when I try to reach them in a professional capacity. There was a time when I was a little bit out of it, psychologically related thing at BYU, learned I had Asperger's syndrome. I was a little worried about professors because I wasn't going to class sometimes. The more I didn't go to a class, the more worried I was to look at that professor in the eye. Oh yeah. I know very well. I know very, very well That whole psychology, man. Oh, I know it better than so many of the... Man, you, you want to talk about that because subject. This is a subject I am so familiar with. You would not believe it. But, but what's happening right now? Nobody knows what's happening right now. In terms of everything is crazy. Everything is still kind of up in the air. We have PPP loans. I got one, by the way. That's a great thing. We got people like can't pay their rent. We got people like landlords can't pay their mortgages. I mean, or whatever. We got stuff going on. And we got other kinds of business loans, and we got bankruptcies, and we got... So because of all this crap, adults cannot they can't just make a phone call and return my phone calls. And I've been among the most accommodating of private structures. The most accommodating. Is it really that hard for these grown adults that have kids to give me a call back? Why aren't they? Does it have anything in common with my psychology of trying to avoid professors and their gaze if I've missed some classes at BYU? Do the two situations have anything in common? Actually, yeah, they probably do. Because everybody feels bad. Everybody feels guilty. One, for not responding back to me earlier. And two, they are in the same situation we all are, where, more or less, I imagine some people probably have a pretty consistent budget or pretty consistent income, depending on what they have for work. But if somebody's self-employed and they're not open, their office isn't open, or they're worried about their finances or whatever, sure they feel guilty. Sure, maybe, especially because I don't hold people to these contracts like some other teachers do. Maybe not too many. I have some. I don't know. On some level, I guess everybody's a little different that way. But all these contracts are probably null and void with COVID-19 anyway. I'm talking about the ones where you have to go to a lesson for a year and sign the contract and stuff. Anyway, I mean, like I've tried repeatedly to put myself in their shoes, but what I've had to have done, I mean, this last phone call, I won't make any other phone calls after this one I made. None. No more. They had their phone call. I'm moving on. I mean, I don't know exactly what the status is or what stage we're supposedly in. But all I know is that if they wanted lessons badly enough, they could do online lessons. Depending, I guess, on their kids' age, of course, and other things like that. But they could do in-person lessons with me with my mask on. That's what I'm doing with one of the most cautious of moms. Have their kid put a mask on and have me put a mask on. I can even be 6 feet away from the kid. We can still have lessons. Or they can do online music lessons. Either way, just a no response thing is, are you really that hurting for money? Why are you hurting? I mean, maybe you are. I don't know. I understand that bit, but it's just the unresponsiveness of it all. So I had to make room in my schedule for new students, but I don't know when they're going to come. And part of what's grinding my gears too is the fact that I can't, in order to keep my free health insurance right now, I can't really make any more money until November. So I'm like, okay, I'm on vacation, kind of. It's just kind of an unofficial vacation. Just sit around and just do. I guess it's kind of, initially it was kind of relaxing. Back when this whole thing started, I was like, it wasn't so bad. I don't know. I wasn't as busy. So at first it was like, it's nice. It's kind of the point where it's just like, this sucks. I felt that way 2 months ago. Anyway, I just kind of feel like I'm repeating myself, from earlier videos, but I do apologize. It still grinds my gears, though. It still grinds my gears. You know what grinds my gears? Like, there was a time when I was never as chubby, not even remotely as chubby as Peter Griffin, but there was time I was a little chubby. Sure, can't afford to be that way. We're all different body types, by the way. I'm naturally slender boned, thinner naturally, bone wise. So, and other than the muscle I gained upper body wise, I probably should look more like Joel Furman. he's slim, right? But I don't know. Peter Griffin. What can I say? Even so, you're heavy boned, like someone like Michael Moore. Michael Moore is still chubby. I mentioned this in an earlier video, by the way. I think the reason why so many people are chubby and American, again, what's there to eat? Well, there's a lot of good things to eat in America. Oh man, a lot of good things to eat in America. Especially what? Hamburgers, fried chicken, soda, Subway, Quiznos. Oh man, the number of McDonald's, and I don't know, you name it, all those kinds of restaurants, quote unquote. Yeah, they're very common in Michigan, in Flint, Michigan, where Michael Moore grew up. I know, it contributed to his obesity because yep, it's cheap, yep, it's filling, and yep, it gets cold up there, and yep, you need some really hot meat sometimes, and man, nothing beats those cheap hot burgers. But you need enough of them. After a while, if you're not active enough and you eat enough of that white bread bun, yep, that can happen to any of us. But anyway, what I don't know. I'm getting through this stuff pretty well, bit by bit, bit by bit. And I'll mention more about video game stuff I bought recently. Of course, it grinds my gears always that I can't find an absolutely amazing fantasy adventure game like Baldur's Gate, but yeah, it's a minor thing. What grinds my gears outside of that stuff? Let me see. Well, I've noticed with my lower carb thing, when I'm tired, I'm like tired. I'm like, there are times in the morning I have tons of actually in the morning, man. I mean when I wake up, I am fully rested. I'm ready to go. I have morning energy. So yeah, I have morning energy when I've been very vegetable nut, or chicken oriented, whatever, fish. Kept this morning energy. I can get through all this stuff in the morning, like very easily. But man, in the middle of the day sometimes, depending on blood sugar things, and man, I want to go to bed, and I hate the feeling of being so tired that I want to keep doing something, but so that kind of grinds my gears. But it's probably a good thing to be not as much of a night owl. So if you have really high blood sugar, diabetic or not, but you probably do, it's hard to go to bed because it's like if it's cortisol or something. Watching Dr. Berg, it all makes more and more sense. You get all this sugar pumping through your body. How can you go to sleep? Until when? And it was so bad in the summer, in previous summers, no air conditioning. Oh my gosh. Your body feels like it's roasting you to death. I was so sweaty. I kid you not. I mean, like, right now, and like increasingly, if you work really hard, if you're running, if you're really exerting yourself, and it's a hot day, but not even if you're really active, you'll sweat. Sure, I'll sweat. Man, I can on 80-degree days, I'm not even sweating all that much, as previous summers, and I know why. It has to do with my blood sugar is much better shape. I'm in much better shape that way. So I guess what grinds my gears is, I don't know. It's just I'm not invincible. I have to take care of myself. It still sucks I don't have air conditioning. At some point, it would be nice to have air conditioning again. And when on the weekends I visit my parents in Tacoma, and they have air conditioning, so that's nice. And the betterment in the bed I have is my old bedroom. It's so much more comfy than the one I have here. I mean, but you get used to a hard bed after a while anyway. But yeah, I mean, like, all these little things. And for the longest time, even things like how you have your computer set up and like the height of your desk and stuff. For the longest time, when I was first here in this house, I used a kind of a lower, I don't know what you call it, like it was something that I put my computer on, and then I was trying to put my keyboard and mouse on, but I had to kind of reach down a little bit. It was a little bit lower. So can you put it straight on your arm a little bit when you're constantly bending your wrist, but your arm is out full extended, and that kind of position. It's much more comfortable to have a more of a position where you're more kind of like setting, like you play a piano, right? So you're at the good height with your keyboard. You want the same things that apply to piano playing would apply to typing in a computer or playing computer games or whatever it is. And I'm, in better shape now. I kind of came up with my own system, and I should have been a little bit more like that when I was, a year or two back. But I've been at this location for a while. I know I'm going to move here when I get a chance, the right place and everything. If I know what I want to do, but next move, I guess. But it grinds my gears that I'm just dealing with all of this. Every landlord's different, and my goal is just to kind of keep things as friendly as possible, I guess. Would be a lot different if I had my own deal, if, whatever. I don't know. Anyway. So, anything else I should mention in this video? Anything else? Well, how can I put this? This is just, I don't know about you guys, but it's not like I'm. How can I put this? Yeah, I've got some funny comments on videos that have nothing to do with my video whatsoever. I won't mention what it was. The only thing I'll mention is that it was spam. And some kinds of spam are just kind of a little bit annoying. Other kinds of spam are like not something that any of us wants to see. And so if you guys have any thoughts in this regard, by all means let me know. To be honest, I mean, some people, I know somebody who doesn't really post videos very often, for instance. He's a member of my church and stuff. And I know him from way back in Tacoma, when I was in Tacoma, going to community college and, going to church there. Anyway, this guy doesn't post very often. Doesn't ever respond to comments on YouTube. Just posts videos here and there. Not really all that often. And so if somebody were to post something funny on one of his videos, I don't even think he would notice. Because he doesn't check his YouTube stuff very often. And that's probably a good way to go. Some people would say, for instance, I'm addicted to YouTube. Well, heck, I mean, if you're addicted to anything right now, what's the problem? I mean, what's the problem, honestly, with being addicted to YouTube? Well, I've tried to figure that one out. I really have. Because YouTube has so many great things on it. It's like YouTube has music, for instance, classical music, film music. You can watch all the corny videos you want to, and maybe that's not as wholesome. Well, wholesome isn't the word I'm looking for. It's not quite as productive of use of time as listening to higher quality music. But so I don't know. Everybody's a little different that way. How they see that stuff. Am I addicted? Well, the question is, am I addicted to music? That was my major, was music. Am I addicted to practicing? We can all practice a bit more consistently, I think. But most of us. But I think it's no, I think I'm doing pretty good there actually. But I'm just doing a lot of things still that are very sedentary and very indoorsy, and I think I'm just getting sick and tired of that. I think everybody is. If there's anything that grinds my gears, it's like, so you want to go help somebody? Oh man, COVID-19 stuff comes into play again. Like, you just want to go help somebody pick weeds. Like, you have to personally know someone. Like, member of your church, they have to not have COVID-19. You have to have your mask on. They have to be assured that you don't have COVID-19. It just makes any kind of human interaction, it just makes it so frustrating to deal with. So some of us just want to watch Simpsons all day, or Family Guy, or yeah, I don't know, this corny. Because I'm not a kid, I don't. There's a lot of cartoons that have been out, like Rick and Morty and stuff. You wouldn't know about these things unless you have a piano student that likes these things. My piano students, still by and large, are into Minecraft. I don't know. Very few of them watch Rick and Morty and stuff comparatively, and I don't know. It's just, and cartoons are just not what they used to be. The best cartoons are still in the '80s, '90s, especially '80s. But anyway, I think I'm good to go with this video. Let me know what your thoughts and comments about this stuff. Feels good to get us all off my chest. It's one of the reasons I do it, but it's good to actually voice it. Wonder how much you guys feel the same way. All right, I'll take care. See you guys soon. Bye.